Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then hey, my name is Lara, and this is a palace of all things productivity and purposeful living. So if this sounds like something that you're keen to get on board with, then feel free to subscribe and ring the bell so that you're notified of when I upload. It is every Thursday. Last week, we talked about how to maintain your productivity while you're working from home. And this week, I wanted to talk about some of the challenges that you're going to face while you're working remotely. And for a lot of you, this is brand new, and these are challenges that you have either faced in the past couple of weeks or they're coming your way. So whether you've already started to work from home or you're about to start working from home and you just simply want to know some of the things that might be coming down the pipeline so that you can troubleshoot them before they happen, then stick around. Pretty much when you're working from home, the separation between your work life and your home life becomes very, very muddy. Your partner, your pet, your roommates, your chores, they're all now living in the exact same space as your work. The trick to making sure that there's a clear line between these things is to set boundaries. The obvious boundary being where you set up your workspace. Now, I did talk about this a fair bit in my last video, so I won't cover it too much. I'll just try and do some quick bullet points for you. Key recommendations for your workspace is that it's set up in an entirely separate room all of its own. If, of course, this is not something that is available to you, you can simply set it up in a space that is facing a wall. If it's facing a wall, you're less likely to be able to see all of the rest of the stuff in your life and get distracted by it. The third option for your workspace is to make sure that it is something that you can set up and pack down. So this way you understand that when a space is set up, it is for an entirely work purpose, and when a space is packed down, that it goes back to being your life purpose. Another great boundary and blocker for these distractions is headphones. This way you can easily block out all of the noise, literal and figurative, of your life and get focused on your work. The other method that I like to use is to simply keep a sticky note close by. So if I'm noticing that I am thinking about that thing over there, those dishes that aren't done, which if I just had the time, I'd like to go and do them, rather than see that and then go do that action, then write it down on your sticky note instead. This way, you're not getting distracted and going back into your home life, but instead you're recognizing that it's a thing you need to deal with later and you are emptying it out of your brain so that you can better work on your work. So if you are anything like me and you feel like you need to get some of these things out of your brain before you can focus, having a handy post-it note is a great way to do it. Another thing that you are likely to face while you are working remotely is digital overload. You will likely get tired and you will likely get headaches. Why? Because your brain isn't used to staring at screens this much. Your workday is usually broken up with meetings or with seminars or going to pick up that thing from the printer or binding those documents together for that other thing you've got on later. But all of this time has now disappeared from your workday, and a lot of your workday now involves having meetings with a screen. It involves taking seminars via a screen. It involves emailing things to people rather than giving them physical copies, which means a lot of your time has now changed over into screen time. The way that I cope with this is to split all of my meetings in two so that I never have a block of face-to-face meetings in a row, because that is guaranteed time staring at a screen. So I split them up into a morning section and an afternoon section, but I never give myself any more than 4 meetings in a day. The other thing that I ensure that I do is that when I plan, I use pen and paper. I do a lot of my planning for the day and a lot of my project planning on pen and paper before I go digital, which means valuable time away from a screen. The last thing you want to make sure that you're doing is taking regular breaks. The more time that you can spend away from your screen, the better it is for you. Going and watering your plants or going and playing a game with your dog. These simple, short breaks away from your computer screen will also really help to save your brain and your eye strain. When you are working remotely, you will also notice that the pace of your work will change and usually will change drastically. First and foremost, you can't simply knock on your boss's door and be like, hey, quick question, can you just answer this for me? Whereas some things like this response time slows down, other things speed up. So your boss may not have the time to, as they're walking into a meeting, go, "Oh, I've thought about you for a project, I'll tell you about it later," and then keep going. You no longer get these little key moments of warning about a big thing that's coming up. And then you will be given an email with a huge workload dumped upon you. Whereas this is quite commonplace, it would be the same email you would get otherwise, it's simply that you got none of these tiny little moments in the lead up to it that told you that this was coming. This means that your workload can go from 0 to 100 in quite a short span of time. Simply keep in mind that this will happen. Be patient with response times and take away the pressure when you get a new workload. Give yourself the moments to really unpack what that means, what that project looks like, and give follow-up questions if you need them. Usually people who work remotely end up working over their allotted amount of hours. This is because where you would usually get into a groove and then go, "Oh, it's quitting time, I have to get my stuff together and get home," you can now go, "Oh, I'll just go till the end of getting this thing done," because you literally have nowhere to be. But this is really dangerous because of burnout. This is not something that you can consistently keep up. And the more times you do it, the more habitual it will become. So set yourself standard hours and make sure that you stick to them. Set alarms if you need to. Get it reinforced by your roommates or by your partner if you really don't think that you will stick to it. Next is work anxiety. Many of you are probably saying, "I had work anxiety before." But working remotely anxiety is slightly different. Because now the pressure actually comes from people not being able to see that you are working. And I mean physically see you working. There is a weird trend that if people can't physically see you working, they assume that you're not. But this also works both ways. We will assume that people will assume that we're not working. So then we get panicked. We get panicked that we haven't done enough. We get stressed that people will assume that we're not working. We feel guilty about the level of work that we were able to achieve. We put in a couple of extra hours just to be sure it proves that we're working. You need to think about what your regular workday would have looked like. The amount of time that you would have spent walking in between meetings. The amount of time that you would have spent doing additional training, asking people questions about that thing, going to check in with this team or other. These simple little actions are no longer available to you. This means that yeah, there are likely some times in your day where you'll have huge gaps where you can't figure out what to do. But remember, this is not at fault of you or your work ethic, this is purely circumstance. And this circumstance is entirely unique. This is not something that we have a written manual for. Thankfully, there are plenty of us who have worked remotely that we can try and give you our best advice of how to get through this. For some of you, you are like me and have worked remotely forever, but still the circumstances are different. For some of you, you'll be starting out for the first time and this is entirely new terrain. If you are one of those people who are brand new at this and have more questions, have more challenges, then feel free to pop it in the description box below and I will absolutely help you out and give you solutions for them. If you're searching for more advice about how to effectively work from home, I will link my video that I made last week up here and down below for you. And before you go, don't forget to like and subscribe and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.